What's up guys, the Lazy Gold Maker. Today we're going to talk about my favorite entry-level gold making method, material tipping. This is so good, this is so easy, it's very nice. So the general idea, buy materials when they're cheap, sell them when they're more expensive. We can see here, just from the stuff I bought yesterday, I've already made 5 gold, 55 silver in profit. Now why does this work? What's the idea? The basic idea is to take advantage of the fact that both the supply and demand of materials varies over time. What does that mean? It means, well, every once in a while someone's going to come, some big farmer is going to come to the auction house, he's going to post all the bronze bars or whatever he's farmed or crafted, or he's going to farm all of his, post all of his oily blackmouth, and suddenly the price is going to be significantly lower than typical, because, well, there's now 1,000 or 500 extra oily blackmouths on the auction house, keeping the price at that level for a really long time. Other people lose their cool, start bringing the price down, and eventually it's going to get relatively cheap. And then the day after that, or 2 days after that, some guy is going to come and he's looking to power level his profession. He's going to buy out hundreds of soul dust in one go. And suddenly the price of soul dust spikes up. And he doesn't want to wait, so he's happy to pay a little bit of a premium. So the price is up. And this happens across a lot of different materials and very consistently. Price will go up, price will go down. So the idea is simply to look through a bunch of different materials, check it once every day, once every other day, 2 times a day. And any that show up that are cheap, like soul dust is not cheap right now. So I'm not going to buy that, but any that show up that are cheap, we're going to buy them. And then we're going to post them at the normal market value and hope that within a day or two someone is going to come along that needs a lot of it and the price is going to swing back up. This is something I've been doing literally since, I don't know how long, Wrath Classic. Actual Wrath Vanilla. I did this in Classic, I did this in TBC Classic, I did this in Wrath Classic, I did this on Legion, I did this on Retail WoW before they reworked the auction house. This is an extremely consistent money maker. It's very easy, super easy to do, and it just requires CSM, and you can pretty much brainlessly pilot the settings I have. So obviously the best types of materials are ones that are cheap to post, because you're not guaranteed to sell everything every time you post. Absolutely not. You're going to eat some deposit costs. So my absolute favorite type of item is obviously going to be like the enchanting materials, because they don't have a deposit cost at all, because they don't have a vendor price. So they're very nice. Other materials that are typically good include herbs. They're usually nice. Bars are kind of vary a little bit because they have more expensive vendor prices. So sometimes some of them are going to be pretty close to their vendor price. So obviously that's not the case right now. But this has happened in the past, particularly with some of the higher level bars and ores that are have quite high vendor prices. That's the only thing you really need to keep an eye on, because that can dig into your profits very significantly if you get a single exploration. But yeah, I've had success with pretty much every type of material, as long as the price is high relative to the deposit cost. But herbs are really nice because of the weekly reset on top of that, which is like, okay, BFD resets, now people need a lot more Grave Moss, a lot more King's Blood today to restock their potions to go into the raid, and then 3 days later they don't need as many, and the price is probably going to fluctuate a little bit. So you can hit those high points on the price and get your sales there. So obviously in phase 1 we're just going to focus on materials that are actually both farmable and used in profession crafting, or usable at the current level. So I've taken my old setup and I've removed everything that's not really relevant in the current phase. And here we're left with a bunch of different materials. So we have for every type, you can pick and choose whatever. I suggest just taking like one type of material at a time, like search for all the meats, and then see if there's any to buy there, then search for all the ores and search for all the herbs, etc. And when you're using this setup, our goal is to buy materials below 80% of the market value and sell them at around market value. So that's 20% profit if and when we get the sale. So this, when you're picking the group and using this shopping scan button, it's going to evaluate the percentage here based on the maximum price in the shopping operation, which is 80% of market value. So this is the percentage of your max price. What does that mean? It means that when you're using this setup, you're looking to buy stuff that's below 100%. So that scan, nothing shows up that's worthwhile. Nothing shows up that's worthwhile at all. I think in all of the ones I've done so far while recording, nothing has shown up that's been profitable. But then you just have to go through, and sometimes you're not going to find anything. Sometimes you're not going to find anything. Here the copper bars are really close. Sometimes I buy up to 105%, just to drive a little bit of volume. But usually I try to keep it below 100% to make sure that I have a reasonable profit margin. The other thing you want to look at is how much is available between 100%, which is the maximum shopping price, and 125%. Why do we care about 125%? Because 125% on this results page, that's equal to the price you'll be posting at. So if there would be thousands of copper bars available at 114%, then it's going to take a really long time to sell anything you buy, right? Then you might hold off, even though it would be otherwise a good deal. But it depends on the material. If it's something that's used in high volume, then I wouldn't be afraid. Like, I've seen absolutely huge stacks of enchanting dust, stuff like that, sell out over a very short period. So I do think that there's definitely opportunities even when there's volume available. But it's something you should keep an eye out on, because in some cases that is going to likely eat into your profits, and just like you'll be sitting on stuff, or it'll be expiring multiple times before you can get a sale, and then it's just not going to be a profit. This linen cloth, I'm going to buy this. It's pretty cheap, but linen cloth sells really, really, really quickly. I mean, worst case, I can just use it. This is my tailor as well. So yeah, this is the basic approach. You're just gonna run through the groups, buy anything that shows up below 100%, and then you're gonna run to your mailbox, go collect everything, and then you run an auctioning scan and post it all back. And then every day you just clean out your mailbox of anything that's expired, and you do another shopping scan to see if there's you can find any new deals or anything that you can sell for a profit that day, or buy for a likely profitable resale. You can get the TSM setup. That's in the video description and the blog post link there. And as I showed you earlier, I did my first shopping round yesterday with this group, and you can see here that we have already realized 5 gold, 55 silver in profit. Now I did do a little bit, like I spent a little bit more. If we go to just this group, for instance, we can see that last 7 days. This is going to include all my purchases. I should do the last day. Wait, I can do just this character, right? I've spent 28 gold so far on this group the last 3 days. So that's my purchases. I'm going to guess that my sales are going to be lower than that. Yeah, 23 gold. So I've not really reached it back yet, because I still have stuff on the auction house. I have a reasonable amount of oily blackmouths and a bunch of large glimmering shards. So we haven't made back our gold, and I also put a bunch of firefin snappers that I just put into the bank, because I think they're going to keep value really well. So that's something I just want to hold them for a later phase. So yeah. Now, of the items I've sold, obviously we have a profit, and then I have a bunch of materials left over that I have not sold yet. So that should add a little bit more profit on top. I mean, we have 9 grave moss, we have a bunch of oily blackmouth. You can see that there's a pretty sizable chunk of gold here on the auction house. So yeah, that's it. Grab the TSM settings in the video description. Go blast on the auction house. This is going to work. Gonna get an updated setup once we get into the next phase with all of the new materials that are relevant then. In the meantime, have fun!